This car crash shook me as a whole for a little while and made me go, oh man, I don't know if I can do that. And being able to see that and then start to work past that.
Spoiler alert, we got in a car crash, so this is the story of how that happened.
What's up, Jumper? I have been Andy. You have been Andy.
DreamWorks B-Movie.
Hello, brother Brian, how you doing?
Pretty good, first time dabber.
We're here to talk about a certain story that my brother and I have had experienced back in 2007? Is that when it was?
Gosh, maybe. I don't know. I was 16. I had just gotten my license. I think it was less than a month after I got my license.
How'd the day go? What led us to that fateful event?
Grandparents at the time owned a Christmas tree farm. We would go out there every year. I've kind of talked about it before. Of you wake up Saturday morning, you pile into the car, dad drives you down to pick up a dozen donuts. You got car talk playing on the radio. The whole family would come out, and help sell Christmas trees. So I think the two of us had it pitched, hey, grandkids, come on out and we'll give you like 80 to $100. And in my mind at the time, 16-year-old me is like, $100, yeah!
You had gotten your license and we were using our dad's car to drive to and from our parents' house up to our grandparents to sell these trees. And I remember, it's important to state that there are interstates between the 2 points. So we were probably cruising at 70, 75, to and from there. Our parents were over visiting other family. Is that what it was?
I don't even know. I just know they weren't home.
They were already coming back and we were like, hey, the local theater that we love so much is showing Jerry Seinfeld's B-movie.
Yeah, that theater has a lot of ties to. I mean, we knew the owners and stuff like that, and basically, even if the movie was a bad movie, it was most of the time a either cheap or free movie.
I just realized us talking about the theater may come across as the theater being behind the car crash.
Basically, any movie that they had, we were like, let's go. Free movie. So we're driving there. We come home. We're driving from our house up the road to the movie theater.
In a Saturn SL2.
Saturn SL2. Midnight blue, I think. Might have been black. I don't remember. It was our dad's car. Emphasis on was. For some reason, around that time, I had really gotten hooked on Avenged Sevenfold's Bat Country. I had that song cranked. I didn't have an MP3 player at the time, I don't think. What I had was this small camera that could play MP3 sound files.
Yes.
And I would listen to stuff off of that. And there's this rickety old bridge. Every time we would ride across it in the bus, we would sit in the way back and we would yell up to our bus driver, go faster, go faster. It went up, straight, and then down. So you would go, whoa,
I'm in danger.
I had grown accustomed to experiencing that bridge at speeds.
Well, let's also preface, as an 11-year-old, a younger brother, I very much was like, yes.
So I gun it. I think I even sped up a little bit. I hit the upward of that bridge going about 77 on this skinny country road. We went airborne as we're going through the sky.
What it felt like 10 seconds.
Right.
It felt like we were up there forever because we're like, oh man, what's gonna happen now?
We're going through the sky, we're soaring, and we come down and I'm like, all right. The car lands. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Saturn SL2s are mostly plastic on the outside.
It's true.
The car lands. We hit the ground. My arm jerks to the side because of how hard we hit.
Well, what I remember was we landed, but we were veering a little too far right.
Oh.
So I feel like your thought process as the driver was, hey, we're going too fast, so I need to course correct so we don't hit that ditch. But It was I think it was the thing with the pressure of the tire tires landing on the ground, you had preemptively turned to avoid it, but it was too much for the car.
Oh yeah. So we didn't go to the right. I saved the day on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
We came down and the front left corner of the car went down and smashed into the ditch, breaking the car's axle, just snapping it like a twig. We come down and hit the corner and the car flips diagonally like 3 times.
It was distinctually 3 flips, and we had turned around 180 degrees, so we're facing back the way we came. But we landed in the field, and I specifically have it in my head that while we were in midair, you go, Andy, are you okay? And I said, yeah!
We landed in the field on the wheels, so that was a huge win. And the radio still works. One thing left out of the entire car, the radio.
We were so disoriented, but the smell was immediate.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't ever had to smell an airbag, well, let me tell you, it's smoky. There's like gross dust that's just been built up in there because it's already an older car. And plus it's from like 90s level safety standards. So they kind of started to care.
It's fine.
We lived, but we weren't enjoying it.
I remember looking over at you and being like, are you okay? And then I said something like, I'm going to call mom and dad or something. And you went, call 911.
Because like that is not something you expect to happen at either of our ages. So after you're done with it, you're like, we can't drive away. Like, what do we do now? This arm ain't moving that good. And I tried to like move it and I was like, shit's not going.
What's wrong with me?
But the only serious injury was I got a fracture on the right side of my collarbone, and it healed within 3 months. I was at the age where like bones are growing, so it was healed up. And
My
fine.
insides are jelly. It's fine.
And that was because we were both wearing seatbelts.
Wear your seatbelts.
I think the neighbor was about a half mile away. Since they were close by, parents gave them a call. They came on over and they watched over us. Just because I remember them like opening my door and being like, we're just going to keep you here until the ambulance shows up. It wasn't quite winter, but it was basically winter in the Midwest because it was cold. Like I was wearing a fleece that the paramedics did end up cutting through.
Yeah. They cut through one of my favorite hoodies. I remember that.
I only remember being told this, but the first ambulance that came to get us and take us to an ER, apparently there was ice on a corner of the road, so much so that it skidded into the ditch. So they had to send a second...
that's right. Yeah.
They had to send a second ambulance because the first one couldn't get out of the ditch. They were fine, but this was just like a weird domino effect where things kept happening and I didn't know what to do. I'm going to show the pictures, but you would think from the damage that the car took that we would have been like annihilated.
Oh yeah.
But,
we should have been.
But if I had sat in the back seat, like, as you can see from the photos, the glass not only broke, but the back bent in. So who knows what sort of head damage I would have gotten. Like, it's probably the best thing that I was in the co-pilot seat with you.
For sure.
I remember a heroic moment that you did, jumping all the way back to you having to call the parents, is both of our glasses had gotten thrown off. And you had to get your phone, but you like crawled out through the window, and I was my brother.
I freaking like ninja threw myself out of that window.
Ejectocito, cut!
So the sheriff got there and like the deputy or whatever. I remember the whole time going, oh man, they're gonna take away my license.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm gonna end up like having to do community service or something. Like
jumping to the ER, I think it was pretty standard. I remember it being pretty crowded, and they needed me to pee in a large like cup thing.
Yeah, that jug thing.
They ruled out that you were fine, and then I didn't need a cast or anything. They just put my arm in a sling, and then we were good to go. And I think maybe we got like late night Wendy's.
We got you at Wendy's.
I remember months after we had recovered, everything was fine. So Brian had saved up to the point that you were able to buy a used car. Cause you know, you're a teenager, like, and I'm like, hey, as soon as he gets a car, that means I get to catch rides with him. Like, heck yeah. Our first drive to school the day after you got the car, the like hubcap, as we took a turn, just rolled away and the car shut down on us. You didn't do anything wrong. We were just driving.
I didn't do anything.
The tire blew, and
oh yeah, okay.
I remember I kept driving, and you like looked out the window and saw sparks from the rim, and you were like, I think you should pull over.
My brother and I have come to a crossroads.
So, Jerry Seinfeld, we both have a bone to pick with you. I don't know about you, Brian. I don't think I've ever actually seen B movie all the way through.
Still never. I still have never seen B movies to this day.
And I think at this point it's just kind of a principle for me, where I'm just like, I'm not gonna watch
Stand
B
your
movie.
ground.
Like I am stronger than this movie. It will never get a hold of me.
I thought about watching it, purposely sitting down and watching it before we did this.
If anything, we got to do a movie commentary thing on it.
Oh, yeah.
We got to just rip this shreds, be like, and this is about the point we would have died. I'll often, whenever I tell people about the car crash story, I wouldn't call it an origin story as for either of us, but it definitely was an event that it heavily affected how we moved life moving forward without us even realizing it, I think. It definitely kind of opened up my eyes as to like, hey, technically anyone can die at any time, so you might as well make every day worth it. Because from that point I was like, ooh, I want to be a chef. And I found out I just really loved making things just outside of food too. And that translated because you were such a big fan of video making and I took after you like all the time. Like that started to bleed into me. And then I started making videos and now we're making a video about that. So how about you with video?
Yeah.
Do you think there's any sort of connection between that instance or maybe something later on that like made you get to where you are today?
I really, really love storytelling, which I used to be like, oh yeah, I'm a storyteller. But then somebody was like, dude, everybody's a storyteller. That's in our nature as human beings. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds kind of douchey to be like, I'm a storyteller. And they're like, yeah, everybody is.
Not like the other boys.
That's my favorite thing in storytelling is these hidden elements that are actually like really huge things. They're awesome. And I think that wanting to express that feeling to people really drove my desire to go into live production using audio and video and lighting to create this atmosphere where people are like, oh man, like this, just like this canvas, everything works together, and you may not catch every little detail, but every little detail has purpose.
Back to the car crash, like we shouldn't understate, like we were already like avid movie people, like we really enjoyed movies and started to online video eventually. But I mean, I just like to think, spin negatives into positives. So in a way that like that car crash was kind of like, hey, you like movies? Keep going back to the local theater.
Right. So I was definitely scared of that bridge for a little while, but I don't know if I was actually scared of it or if I thought that I was supposed to be scared. It definitely impacted my confidence, and that was a huge thing.
Do you think your confidence like went down after? Do you think it went up?
Oh yeah, it definitely went down. Yeah, so, and I think that it also made things a little more noticeable to me, that I was like, ooh, why am I hesitant to like go into this situation? And I think after that is when I started kind of learning about different personality tests and stuff like that. Being able to know those things about yourself and being able to know, oh hey, my confidence feels low, but it may be because I haven't experienced this before. It could be because I have had a past history of failing with this before. It could be that it's something not related to it at all, like with this car crash. This car crash shook me as a whole for a little while and made me go, oh man, I don't know if I can do that. And being able to see that and then start to work past that was a huge thing for me. Streaming is a perfect example. Being like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to go well. I don't know if anything's going to work. I spent 3 or 4 months leading up to start streaming on twitch.tv/agexpressions to create this what is now this cool community of people who like just want to be chill and wholesome and hang out with each other, because that's the experience, that's the canvas that I create with the stream that I do is and that kind of combines the two things together there. Just jump in, just start creating, and know that in the very beginning it's going to be garbage, and just be okay with that.
Connecting that experience with kind of like how my life, in a way, I feel like we just became self-aware from that point on.
It became this thing of like, in high school, you think, oh, these are the people, everything here matters, but like it doesn't.
Yeah.
High school is so like closed and it's this inner circle, but like college is like, all right, introduction to the real world. There's like so many people out there.
I think it's also important to know that like when we refer to college days, like not everyone has to go to college, but
yes,
I am a strong advocate that you should be socially active post high school graduation.
Yes. Yeah.
You should definitely branch out from what you've known up until that life, because obviously your mind is still developing well into your 20s, but you kind of need that necessary uncomfortableness in order to get to where you want to be.
I think the moral of the story is take your time, learn from your mistakes, and don't be afraid to burn bridges.
Just live life to the fullest. Put yourself out there more, because at the end of the day, you too could get in a car crash and not be as lucky as us. Like,
you could die at any moment. Carpe diem.
Oh my God, that's the message I'm going with. Brian, thank you for talking about this. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Plug away. Rumor has it you have an amazing Twitch channel.
I'm actually about to go live right after this, so if you somehow are a time traveler, you can hop into the Twitch stream at twitch.tv/agedexpressions, AGEDEXPRESSIONS, and you can actually find me on most platforms at that username. We just did a 25-hour live stream, which was
we did
nuts. It was heckin' bonkers. We blew past our goal of $500 and raised over $850 for Riley Children's Health Hospital here in Indianapolis, and definitely is kind of fed into me going like, I kind of want to do this full time.
And on that note, guys, I've been Andy, you have been Dandy, he has been Brian, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye!